Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday night. I'm Barry Fair, and it is a pleasure to have your company in the studio this evening on a warm summer's evening. And joining me now in the studio is my opsider. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, Barry. Good evening, viewers. A lovely warm summer's afternoon we have here today.
And we sure do have some hot weather on the way this week, with tomorrow heating up like an oven out there and 30 degrees, and Thursday, wow, very warm indeed on that day as well. So keep yourself hydrated, everybody. We don't want any dehydrated people. Here's Rob now for his view on this.
Absolutely, Barry. If you don't have to feel like you're thirsty. If you're sweating and you're running around in this heat, you really do need to make sure that you replace your fluids.
And as we all know, summer can be fun, but with that scorching sun, it can have a nasty bite to it. And if you are out in the sun without any sun cream on, you can get burnt quite severely. And Rob, sunburn can be a very dangerous thing during the summer months.
Absolutely, Barry. If you go red or even just slightly red, that means you are burnt, and that's too much. You must remember to put on your sunscreen, particularly for young children and small babies.
And never leave anybody in the car or your pets, because we discussed this on the show at this time last year. And now, how stupid are some people leaving their pets or children in the car? It's beyond me, but they do it. So our advice this evening on the show: if you're gonna go into the shopping centre, please take your kids with you. Take them into the shopping centre, give them a nice cool drink or an ice block to keep them cool. Here's my opsider.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Barry. And when I spoke earlier, I said make sure you keep your children, young children, got their sunscreen on, and small babies. Well, small babies wouldn't have sunscreen. They just need to be shaded and kept out of the sun and, kept cool.
And in the car, always have your air conditioning on as well, so that the kids are not sweating in the back seat of the car. And always make sure that you have plenty of fluids on hand this hot summer, because my suggestion is put a bottle of cordial in the freezer overnight and then take it out so it's nice and cold for you by lunchtime. And if you're going shopping, do it in the earlier part of the day, not in the later part of the day where it could get up to 40 degrees plus. And don't have a road rage attack on the hot days either, because that can lead to stress. So please don't have a road rage attack. Here's Rob now for this.
Yeah, that's good advice once again, Barry. You really need to stay calm and cool in this sort of weather. make sure you've got a full tank of petrol so you can run your aircon and stay cool in that car when you're driving, and get ready ahead of time so that you don't have to rush to get where you're going, because Christmas traffic is notoriously slow, isn't it?
And it is horrendous. And I have a lot of patience on the road as well. And don't think you are the only one out on that road either. And don't overtake any turning vehicle. And don't hurl abuse at anyone. And stick to the speed limit. Always have patience in the car, and also show respect for the other road users as well. And now on the show, let's talk about what's coming up on Christmas Day. We have a smorgasbord of entertainment for you coming up on Christmas Day, and here's Rob to tell you what's coming up then.
Yeah, well look, we will be doing an information video for you on Christmas Day, and so we won't tell them too much about it now, Baz. We'll just whet their appetite and let them know that we'll be coming to them with a bit of advice for getting through Christmas Day, which can sometimes be a long day where people eat too much or get a bit too tired, drink too much, so there's plenty to keep your eye on.
Okay, well, I'm just going to give you a bit of a snippet now. We have a yummy Christmas lunch on the way for our viewers during Christmas, prepared in the Oceana Studios kitchen, and proudly brought to you by Coles. Our groceries are delivered fresh to our canteen. We had the best meals here. And now, safety at the beach. Always tell someone where you are going. Don't just wander off. The beach is a big place, and always arrange a meeting point where you are going, because who knows where you might end up, and tell the person where you are going to meet them and give them your number. And Rob, what are your tips for safety at the beach?
Well, I think someone should always stay with your belongings on the beach. If there's two people, that's just, I think, bad luck that, you know, that someone has to stay there. Or you don't go too far out into the water, and you keep a good close eye on your belongings on the beach. If there's three of you, well then two can swim and one can stay. Or you can just take your stuff down towards the water's edge and keep a very good eye on it. But you must be well aware of people.
And always swim between the red and yellow flags. And don't go out into a rip, because that's how drownings happen during the summer. Enough of the negativity. Well, with Christmas fast approaching, it is a happy time of year, but also a silly time where people have too much to drink and say stupid and foolish things. We do, however, encourage you to show respect for the ones you love this coming festive season, and don't just think about yourself. There are others around you as well, and if you've got a problem, sort it out with the person outside of the house, not inside of the house. And our top story this evening, well, returning to our top story now on the show, and look at that blue sky out there. And Rob, it is going to get hotter this week.
It is indeed, Barry. It's going to be hot indeed. So with all that advice we've given them, we hope that they take, all the listeners, the viewers take it, and then they won't get into trouble in the heat.
And always always keep cool and take nice healthy food as well, wherever you may be going. And for the dogs, a container of water, because dogs can get dehydrated as well. And we are nearly at the end of the show, but before we go, Rob and I would like to say a big thank you to the viewers for tuning in to our regular videos this year. And the videos are going to keep coming, and we're going to call it the Summer Series with Barry Fair and all the gang here. So we hope that you have enjoyed the videos that we've brought to you, and don't you touch that dial, ladies and gentlemen. The shows are just coming out of nowhere. And Rob, what have you got to say to the viewers now?
Well, I just think that they should enjoy this lovely evening and contemplate the advice that we've given them, and we'll speak to them again when, Baz? Possibly on the weekend?
And before we do go tonight, we always bring this up, and that is the 3 numbers you see on your screen there. Please don't ring 000 unless you really have to, because 000 are very busy coming in to the festive season. And one important thing on the show is people lighting bushfires, so please don't light bushfires either, because the firefighters work day in, day out, putting the fires out, and that is where we must close the show for the evening. And just a weather update before we sign off for the evening. Well, if I can just get my offsider Rob to zoom in on the beautiful evening that we have here. There you go, look at that. And that's all we've got time for tonight on the show. And from me, Barry Fair, and Rob Doyle, we wish you a very safe and happy evening. And here's Rob to say good night now.
Good night, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Good night, Barry.
And thank you for joining me on the show, Rob. It's a pleasure, and we look forward to your company next time round on the show. But from all of us here at Oceania, we bid you a very good evening. Good evening.